Now, besides the unbearable power cuts and really the ridiculous load shedding stages that the country faces at the moment, Joburg residents must brace themselves for what could potentially be unbearable or bad news for some. So if you are a resident in Johannesburg, City Power says it will no longer be responding to outage calls from customers who continue to just refuse to pay for electricity, including customers with non-vending meters, non-paying customers or defaulting customers. There are really a lot of questions around this. So joining us this morning to help us unpack this and to shed some light is City Power spokesperson Isaac Mangena. Isaac, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the morning show.
Good morning, and good morning to the viewers at home.
Isaac, I think let's start really just by understanding why City Power has made this particular decision when it comes to non-paying customers and just deciding that you are no longer going to be responding to their calls.
So I think the finances of the city, or the problems with finances of the city, are out there for everyone to see. And we have actually been out talking about how problematic it is for us to basically be able to operate properly, efficiently, and ensure that people have got electricity. And this is partly because of the people that are basically owing the city of Johannesburg and City Power in particular. We've got a lot of customers that are basically not paying for electricity, but they demand the services from City Power. And as such, we have come to a decision to say we really need to start basically auditing some of these people before we restore their electricity. So we are sitting with about 10 billion rands of revenue that has not been collected, that is sitting out there because of the people that are defaulting, people that are owing. And so we decided that before we actually respond to any individual outage call, we should basically check if that call is vending, if that person's meter is in place and basically working, and revenue is collected from that customer before we can replace. And it's purely because of the very same call probably needs material for us to be able to switch on the lights. So that material needs money. Just last week, we were around Rudeport. We replaced about 7 mini substations. 1 mini substation is 600,000 up. So that's a lot of money that we don't have. So basically, we are saying to customers, assist us so that we can assist you to keep the lights on.
And I mean, Isaac, do we know, how many residents at the moment actually owe City Power and how much is actually owed? And you can also just tell us about the conditions of you being able to dispatch some of your technicians to go into the various areas. Are we indeed looking at if in an area 70% or less of the people are not, or more of the people actually are not paying for electricity, then you will not be going into that particular area? What are those conditions, and do we know exactly how much is owed?
So basically, a customer will log a call and say, I don't have electricity. We can remotely be able to pick whether this customer is vending or not vending. Okay. And we're able to basically say, look, according to our records, you owe us this amount of money. And before we dispatch a team, because that's a waste of resources if you're going to dispatch a team only to get to an address to find out that this person is not vending. So before we dispatch a team, we're able to basically tell you that you need to fix your account with the City of Johannesburg before we can basically come and attend to your matter. That's an individual issue. But in a situation where the area is out, so this is when a feeder board is off, or even a mini substation, that green box at the corner of the street is bending or is faulty, and we need to basically fix it. We will basically come through. We are not going to say, let's check if 70% or whatever. We're going to come through and fix that box. Right. But before we switch on, we'll go to individual houses that maybe 50 or 100 houses that are basically feeding from that box to say, do all these customers basically pay? Those that are not, we will basically disconnect them immediately there, and those that are, we will basically switch on their lights. So the box will be fixed for the whole community or for the whole street, but individual household will be visited to basically check and do that auditing and ensure that they are vending before we can do this. And really, we shouldn't even be discussing this. People have got responsibility of actually paying for services. So City Power has got a responsibility to collect revenue from from the customers that are using electricity. We're spending close to 20 billion rands annually buying this electricity from Eskom, and if we are not able to basically make some revenue out of that or profit out of that, we won't be able to reinvest this money into maintenance. Currently, we're talking about Eskom down on its knees, and part of the reasons that were given was that maintenance was never done in the past, and we don't want a situation where we will be looked at by future generations and they'll say City Power never did maintenance, whereas we did not even have this money to basically ensure that we do this maintenance. Currently, as I'm talking to you, in the city of Johannesburg, we've got about 500 plants that are out of service. They need money for us to basically be able to get to those so that we can provide reliable supply of electricity. In the news bulletin, we're talking about North Riding and some of the areas where we basically were grappling with backlogs, about 4,000 outage calls yesterday at least. And most of those are purely because of a lot of maintenance hasn't been done properly, or maybe there is equipment or material that is missing that we need to buy. And so we don't have that money to basically do this. And I think we came out to say we are basically spending, especially during this higher stages of load shedding, using more material than we can replenish.
And I hear what you're saying, Isaac, around the responsibility that you have as City Power. But what do we do then with those residents that really cannot afford to be paying for their electricity? Can there be some arrangements that they can make? There are child-headed households out there. There are pensioners who are taking care of family members, extended family members. What kind of arrangements can be made to make sure that those kinds of families are also just accommodated and they're not left out in the dark and out in the cold?
Look, the city of Johannesburg is a pro-poor municipality. I think we came out many times in the past. It's not even new today. We came out in the past to say those people, especially after the grueling impact of COVID-19, where most people basically lost their income, most people's businesses basically got lost, people lost their jobs, and so forth. So everyone was basically down on their knees. And City of Johannesburg came out with programs. We do have those programs where we support the indigent members of our society. We do not expect to get a pensioner getting SASSA from government and pass that to another government arm, which is the municipality paying for services. So what we say is that they need to basically visit our offices so that we know about them and we're able to exclude them in terms of the revenue collection that we're doing. So they really need to come to the offices, any office of City of Johannesburg in any region, and make their claim so that we can be able to investigate that and put them on the indigent roll so that we are able to exclude them in terms of what we are trying to do. So we do have measures to support those kind of people. And also we are currently talking to NERSA around those non-affluent areas where you may not basically be able, like places like Alexandra. We are looking at a flat rate so that we can be able to know that every household, this is how much they need to basically pay before we can, because you can appreciate the fact that for us to be able to take a township like Alexandra and be able to put meter in each and every one of those, it might be a little bit difficult, and especially because of most of the people in those areas are really poor. So there are measures that we are currently looking at with in consultation with the regulator, so that we will be able to find the middle ground, especially for the people that are really not able to pay for services.
Isaac, thank you so much for your time. And of course, the issue around the flat rate has been a controversial one for a very long time. So it will be very interesting to see how that one will play itself out. But thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. The spokesperson of City Power, Isaac Mangena, joining us this morning here on The Morning Show.